The dopest life coach out there. And I want to say welcome. Welcome to the Habits That Help You Heal workshop. If you're new here, this is part of my free workshop series. The point of this was to give back to, I understand that not everyone's going to be able to, and I've wrestled with this for a while, to afford coaching or afford workshops. So I decided for the remaining of the year that I would dedicate just one workshop per month. And this month is we're focusing on healing. And I scheduled this in advance, not really anticipating how the world is right now. It could be very heavy, it could be sad, it could be frustrating, and a lot of us may feel a little bit overwhelmed when it comes towards actually even starting our healing journey or continuing it, or let's say even restarting it, right? Because healing is not, it's not one size fits all. Tabitha Brown once said in an interview that she is actively healing. And I really had to think about that because oftentimes I think a situation could happen and we say, yeah, I'm healed from that, which is true. You can become healed from that, but there could be moments where things come up and things will try to upset you and trigger you and kind of place you back into where you once were. That happens to me often, right? So, a bit of my story. My name is Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there, also known on social media as your coach in your pocket. I'm claiming that one. And in 2022, beyond my entrepreneurial journey of being a coach, a workshop facilitator, public speaker, keynote speaker, a podcast host, the Dope Life podcast, which also gets released every Tuesday. A episode drops every Tuesday. I work for the transit system here in my city. And I have done that for almost a decade, which is kind of even crazy to say out loud. It's almost been a decade. And I used to drive the city bus. And one particular day back in June of 2022, I was assaulted while driving. I'm able to talk about it now. You know, I don't want you to feel bad for me about it, but I'm able to speak on the topic now because I have done the work. I have done extensive work. As a result of the assault, I was diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety, and it was a mouthful to hear. My therapist say that, my psychotherapist say that, because to be fair, I remember there's no way, like I'm not claiming these diagnoses. It's not who I am, but I was showing the symptoms a lot, a whole lot. Part of that also, I had to backtrack while I was going through my healing journey of that situation of where was I? You know, this is June of 2022. Where was my mindset beforehand? And I was severely burned out without even knowing. And maybe I'll even have a workshop on burnout again, and how it just shows up a little bit different. I do have one that I released. You could check it on YouTube. But maybe we can talk a little bit about that towards the end. So going through a healing journey at that point of my life, and I had an idea of what career I wanted within my business, within where I was working, where I work. And it was like, okay, I have this, I'm growing my business, everything's going great. Meanwhile, I was having severe burnout from doing both. And then all of a sudden, I'm hit with this curveball, this roadblock that sent me into a very deep, dark moment of my adult life. It was tricky. I gained 40 pounds. I drank. I ate. I didn't take care of myself during that moment, but I had to also give myself grace in that moment. I think that's what healing is all about, and we tend to forget that part about giving ourselves grace in that moment. So I'm gonna go through different steps of how it, like the healing, the habits that help me heal. And again, if you are starting a healing journey, if you're restarting your healing journey, or even if you are just need to kind of like change the strategy a bit, you understand that the world is getting so heavy. This is for you as well. This is for you as well. I'm just trying to pull up my little screen for y'all. Umo momento. There we go. Share. Boom. Okay. Make sure y'all could see it. Okay, lovely. Works for me. All right, so this is part of the Living Dope method, and Living Dope method is I live and love a dope life with this throughout this authenticity, and love and kindness for myself, and by living a dope life, it allows me to help and fuel others. As a coach, and even anyone that's working in the, I would say, the wellness category or subject, we have to take care of ourselves. So if you're a coach, a therapist, I mean, I'm no therapist, please understand that. I am accredited certified coach through the ICF. Shout out for me passing my exam. Uh, that's to take a step back of why I say that is because I put it out there in the universe that I wanted to take the exam, and I talked myself out of it many times. And then this year, I took the exam and I passed. And funny enough, they sent me a little like emblem, and I'm like, what am I gonna? Oh, here it is. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I didn't know they were gonna send me this. Until I reread the email saying that they were going to. I got it in the mail this week and I was like, yo, this is pretty dope. I have no clue where I'm going to put it, but it's going to be somewhere special. So first things first, few rules. This is a safe space. Okay. What you say here, what you hear here, it stays here. All right. So please be kind. Oh, hi. Hello. Sorry. I have my screen off. You can mute if you feel comfortable. However, if you want to join in, by all means, you can as well. Okay. Or you can even just chat in the chat box. I'm going to be going back and forth from screen to screen just to like keep track. But welcome, 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 welcome. So yes, so the rules here is this is a safe place. Please be kind, respectful for each other. I'm Jamaican descent, so what you say here, it stays here. If you can't do that, don't come back here. That's just how I was raised. All right. So what habits do you wish you were more consistent with? I'll start first to kind of break the ice a little bit, and I want you to think about it because this is important. The point of this workshop is not just for you to sit here and see my beautiful face and hear me talk. It's to get the wheel going of maybe some habits that you're thinking, man, like I wish I could do a bit more, or maybe I can just add in that 1%. I think oftentimes when we think of improving, especially self improvement, we want to overhaul our entire life. And being a person who's done that before in the past, it doesn't help. The 1% per day is where it's at because you're building your habit stacking. And we're going to talk about that as well over time. All right, so today we're going to be talking about identity and habits. We're going to be doing like a morning and evening audit. It's also going to be, like I just said, habit stacking. And we're also going to be personalizing your own commitment. Like I said, this is the point of this workshop is for you to actually take something tangible that you can start your own habit journey and healing journey today. I'm just going to go ahead and there you go. I'm just gonna mute you for now. But if you have any questions, by all means, please just unmute and go ahead and ask. All right, so we're gonna do a quick little icebreaker because I love me a good icebreaker. When you think of two of your favorite foods and three places you'd like to visit, please also keep in mind of the question that I asked you. This is important because we're gonna come back to that as well. But yes, two of your favorite foods, and you could put it in the chat box below, and three places you'd like to visit. So I'll quickly go first. I love me some Mexican food, and I'm not talking about Taco Bell. No hate or shade towards them. I'm talking about authentic Mexican food. I also love really good barbecue, like really, really good barbecue. If it's dry, I don't want it. Uh, two places I want to go back to Mexico. I loved my time there, and I really enjoyed it. Switzerland is on the list as well for the scenic, scenery of everything. It looks very beautiful. And Barbados. I don't know why I haven't done it, and perhaps crop over is something I need to experience. Uh, so how about you just in the chat, or you can unmute where two foods you like to eat, and two places that you'd love to visit. Or you can unmute, whatever works for you. So two foods you'd like to eat and two places you'd like to visit. I'll bring it back to that. I'll give you a few more minutes and then I will push on. And if you don't need to answer if that's okay. If you're not feeling that, that's totally fine as well. Okay. That is all good. All right. So let's get into it. I recently read a study. It was like a quick read article on Forbes. I'll send the link as well, maybe in the emails afterwards. According to Forbes, job burnout is at 66% in 2025, and a new study shows. This is what a new study is showing. Now, with the recent situations that are happening in the world, I can't help but think there's a good chance that the number is actually higher, right? And how does burnout disrupts? And you're probably wondering, like, why are we talking about burnout? Because this is also has to do with habits. Burnout disrupts your energy, your sleep, your confidence, and your joy. So let's talk about resetting and getting habits that could actually help us through those moments as well. And we're gonna go through like why habits are important, but I also want you to think about certain habits that you want to start incorporating for as well. That's it's just to get like your because you probably have an idea of some habits that you would like to start incorporating, and this is a great time to discuss it. So habits are routines, behaviors or practice that are repeated regularly, right? Habits can be both positive or negative and can impact various aspects of our life, including our health or productivity and personal growth. For me personally, one of the things that sticks out for me the most is how there's certain habits because one of the things that a lot of people have difficulty with is consistency. But if you're consistently doing habits that you know don't serve you, your issue is not consistency. It's just changing and shifting your mindset and adding in that discipline. And oftentimes we think, oh, I can't stay consistent. No, you can stay consistent, and you've stayed consistent in those probably not the greatest habits, but the habits is not your problem. It's shifting the mindset, right? And gaining sorry, the consistency is not the problem. It's shifting your mindset so that you can gain the habits that are going to help you propel you moving forward. So how do we build habits over time? I personally love cues. When I was going through dealing with my PTSD, I still have PTSD, obviously, from being assaulted at work. The one thing that got me up every day and saying, okay, we have to get back at it was leaving cues out. So I leave my gym clothing. I work out at home. I leave it out in a place where it's laid out every night the night before so that I know, okay, we got to do that. My journal is placed exactly where my coffee is because I know I'm going to grab coffee every morning. So I place my journal, and I also have a daily word that I read with a Bible scripture and a lesson. It's placed on top of that. And I have like a little, I guess you say like an agenda. So all of these things are there with a pen waiting. There's no excuses, right? And the reward from you creating or using cues is you created a reward system. So for me personally, if at the end of the week, if I consistently do it and I hold myself accountable, is I get myself a little reward from it. Nothing crazy, something super cheap, or maybe I sleep in, just something different. The routine that includes physical, mental, emotional aspects. It's good to include the things that I just want to go back that help your energy, sleep, build your confidence, and and also produce more joy. These are the things that make us feel good. And we kind of sometimes put that in the back burner because of responsibilities. But here's the thing: if you're not taking care of yourself, nobody else is gonna take care of you the way you're going to. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. Who are you when your routines are off? And who are you when you feel grounded? If your routines are off and you're irritable, if you're easily annoyed, you're sleepy, you're angry, unmotivated, these are some things, these are your cues like, okay, I got to switch up my habits. But if you when you're feeling grounded, it's a lot more easier to identify in an odd way. But it could be foreign to you because you've never felt this way before. You could feel easily at peace. You could feel light. You feel well rested. Just positive energies, positive feeling. And again, it may feel foreign to you in the beginning, but over time, you will find that it becomes you allow yourself and you give yourself permission to actually feel that feeling. So I want you could write this down or you could just say it out loud. Morning, when I'm burned out, I feel blank. What are you feeling? In the morning, when I'm burned out, I feel exhausted. And usually it's the habits that I need to incorporate to make me feel not as exhausted as I feel in that moment. And it could be prayer, it could be meditation, it could be me just speaking whatever's on my chest, in my mind, out. It could be journaling. And I want to preface by saying journaling doesn't just have to be you writing things out. You could do audio, you could do voice to text. We have technology. So let's start using it for also our betterment. You could also use video journaling. I know a lot of people do video journaling and then they go back and they look at it and sometimes they're like, ooh, I was a hot mess. And sometimes it's more of, I feel pretty good. Okay, let's go to the chat. My apologies. Dubai. Ooh, yes. So many countries in Africa is on my list as well. Uh, I just don't know where to begin because the more I do research, I kind of want to do them all. I would like to do a safari. I know someone that recently did that. I'm a little bit terrified, but I think it'd be pretty cool. And Dubai, I know someone who recently went there and they kind of gave me a play by play of how I could do that and fly. And they went with their family, so I'm also intrigued with Dubai as well. Thank you for sharing that. But yeah, I want you to just write down. I'm not trying to give you homework, but I just want you to write down how do you feel like in the morning when you don't feel like your habits are there? How do you feel? Because we know the shift, we feel the difference, right? But now I want to go on the positive side. In the morning when I'm grounded, I feel blank. How are you feeling when you are grounded and feel and your habits are clicking in and working because you're doing it on a daily basis? And also, by the way, you don't have to do it every day. Trust me, I understand that life can be lifing. I don't know if you can see the picture I have behind me. Life is lifing and people is peopling. No matter what we do, there's always something that's gonna happen in our life, and it could just shift things. And that may need there's something else in your life that may need a priority. That's cool. Don't worry about it. But if you skip a day, it's fine. But when you do feel grounded and you're doing it on a regular basis just to maintain, right? Or build or restructure your own self health, how do you feel? Do you feel, I always say I feel like I'm flowing. Yeah, I flow like water. It's a beautiful feeling. I feel at ease. And sometimes, just like a bed of water, it can get very rocky. And that's life. And then I ground myself again and it's flowing again. And at night, when I'm burned out, how do I feel? Typically, probably exhausted, right? We probably feel heavy, exhausted, and we just want to roll over, rubber feet together, and knock out. Like, we just want to roll over and knock out. And at night, when I feel grounded, I feel because your habits, you're doing your evening habits or your nightly habits, right? You feel different, or your PM habits, as I call them. You feel pretty good. You're reading, you're not really scrolling, which I know a lot of us have a tough time doing. I'm a work in progress. I'm going to be honest, I'm a work in progress. Um, you're taking a step back to maybe you're reading a book right now, which I know I it's you need light for that, right? So sometimes they say like blue light's not good, but then the other light's not good. Do the best you can. That's why I say like healing and self-improvement, there's not a one-stop shop. You're constantly going to be shifting and moving. It's you're constantly moving and figuring it out. So yeah, how do you feel at night when your habits are in and you're grounded? Think about that as well. What's one difference between your burnt out self and your well self? And I will say, like, share in the chat if you, what changed when you felt well. Um, when I'm doing my habits and incorporating them and I feel burnt and I'm not feeling burnt out, the change is my whole body doesn't feel tense. I don't know if this is just me. Whenever I'm stressed out, it's always in the forehead for whatever reason. Shout out to meditation because, and I have a video on that where I say like breathe into the part of your body where your stress is, and it always helps release it. When you inhale, I always inhale to my forehead and I exhale it out. I do that 3 times. Sometimes I hold for 4 seconds. It works. I don't know why. It clicks in. So I would have to say like I'm more relaxed when I'm working through that. So now we're going to talk about kind of what I was saying, like habits that fuel your energy, habits that fuel your confidence, habits that fuel your sleep, and habits that fuel your joy. Now that we have a bit of an understanding of what habits are, how they can link to also burnout, we're going to be going into these 4 sections. So first comes first is habits that fuel your joy. Move around. I can't help but think now I used to like love running on my treadmill. For some reason now I love walking. I don't know what's changed, but I find when I walk it allows me to clear my mind also by moving my body. You don't have to move your body for like an hour to 2 hours. Do not let social media make you think you got to move and build muscle on this for like an hour to 2 hours. I used to do that. I work out 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes. And to me, I rather bang out a really good 30 to 45-minute workout versus me spreading it in an hour. 95% of the time, I feel like people are just on their phone scrolling and on their and just listening to music back to back, which is fine. But for me personally, it's like I have a schedule, um, and I have to get it done. So you don't have to be working out for no 30 minutes. So if you even take a 10-minute walk, it increases circulation and it clears out your brain fog. And that's a great time to even just have a conversation with yourself. Maybe not out, completely out because people might think you're nuts. Um, or like what you can do, I think someone said this, they put headphones in as if they're on the phone and they talk to themselves so they can get the energy out and release it out in the universe so that they're not taking it back home. And I was like, that's pretty genius. That's pretty genius. And schedule your breaks. If you work from home, please take your breaks. Take them. But take your breaks and go outside for a few minutes. If it's cold, if I get it. I live in a country where, we're getting into that cold climate time. But if you can just go outside just to reset, please do it. Like 5 to 10 minute reset every 90 minutes, like chart recharges your focus. I don't know if it's just me. If you stare at a screen for too long, after a while, you forget what you're doing. It's hard for you to pay attention. Sometimes my eyes just go the opposite direction, and I just need to get up, go outside, walk around, do something else, refocus my mind, listen to music, dance in my kitchen. There's so many ways that you could just fuel your energy. So those are just two, but these are the two I would say monumental ones that helped me when I was going through being off for 2 years, diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, due to my assault at work. So these are the ones that really were a push for me to get a lot more healthier in the end. And sleep. I cannot stress this enough. Some people need 8 hours. Me personally, I'm 6 to 7 and I'm good. But having a consistent bedtime, it helps. And a consistent wake up time. Unfortunately, my body just wakes up at 7 a.m. It used to be 6 a.m. But due to schedule change, now it's 7. Your body thrives better and your mind is far more functional on proper sleep. And what I mean by proper sleep, I don't even mean like, okay, you got 6 hours, you got 8 hours. I mean, you're in REM, like you're in deep sleep where you fell asleep and you don't remember how you fell asleep. One thing that has worked with me over the last like 3 years, during my moment of being diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, was an app called Insight Timer. I use it religiously every night, and I listen to the ocean as I go to bed. It's an hour and 57 minutes. I'm out within 15. I'm typically out within 15 minutes. So yeah, you could check that app out as well. Digital cutoff 1 hour before bed. Again, going back to what I discussed, having a good moment of when you don't scroll. I know it's hard. We're addicted to these damn devices, but there has to be a point where you're just like, okay, I gotta just shut down my phone, even if it's during the day. So oftentimes what I do, I'm here at my desk or I'm over there by my kitchen table. If I don't need my cell phone, especially if it needs to charge, it's in my bedroom. It's somewhere else where I have to get up if someone calls me. The reason why I do that is because it could be also a distraction. I don't think the blue light's even good for us throughout the day. So I try to limit that as much as I can. So yeah, trade scrolling for reading, stretching. Stretch before bed is such a great thing, or a conversation, with your spouse. Or this is a moment where you can call a friend or whatever, but keep the phone, if you can, just not in arm's reach. I know that seems odd. If you have headphones or something that you could just speak with them and it's away from you, thumbs up. But yet again, I just want to point out I am working on the digital cutoff. I'm still now I'm working on it. Before I was really good with it, but I'm slipping up. I'm working on it. Daily affirmations. So yeah, sorry, habits that fuel your confidence. Let's start off with daily affirmations. I have about 6 or 7. They're over there, but I went to my local dollar store, got these cue cards. And anytime I heard or an affirmation came to me that really struck, I would write it out on the cue card. So this one here just says, in order to receive, I must become. And for contents, that just basically means the person that, in order for me to receive the things that I want in my life, all of the goodness that I'm manifesting and praying on, I got to become the person not only to receive it but to maintain it. And that's the point of that affirmation or mantra. So yeah, daily affirmations or daily gratitude, speaking life into yourself. It shifts inner dialogue from doubt to belief. It moves that thought process of I can't to I can. And it does take a daily shift of you switching your vocabulary. So just kind of touching base on vocabulary real quick. Your vocabulary is everything. What you say to yourself, what you think, it holds tremendous power. There's that saying where they say like you fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that word exactly. I personally believe in you say it to change the belief of it. You have to continuously say it so the belief changes. Keeping promises to yourself. Each small follow through. I'll walk 10 minutes. I'll send that email. It builds trust. Coupled with non-negotiables. I have non-negotiables that I set with myself. There's no prayers automatic. My daily devotions automatic. My journaling is automatic. Moving my body is automatic. We're doing that daily. There's some non-negotiables. Especially you're gonna have moments where your mind's gonna tell you, no, we ain't doing this. No, we're not doing this. You got to shift that. There's something called neuroplasticity where it's like the mold of your brain. And I learned this from my occupational therapist when I was going through the transitioning of my PTSD and working through that. It's like he's like, we're remolding your brain. You're thinking like everything bad's gonna happen and it molded to your brain. So now it's kind of like we're heating it up so that we can mold the plastic to where you are now, and just trying to shift it. And I've been doing research on it. It's pretty cool to realize how our brains really like work in that, after a traumatic event. Habits that fuel your confidence. Again, preparation over winging it, right? You're gonna walking and prepared reduces anxiety, allows confidence to come through naturally. So, like I said, the cues help. When I leave my gym clothes out, I put all the books that I know I'm gonna need for the day next to my coffee. It's just instead of me just winging it, I'm preparing myself the night before, which helps a ton. Track your process, your progress, and not perfection. Documentation, your wins, no matter how small. Confidence is built in the process, not the finish line. In my phone, and you could do this too. This is so easy. I love technology because a lot of it we've already paid for. We have the device, right? You can go in notes, and I created a file which is called the celebration file. That file is basically every month I have to write what I'm celebrating, the accomplishments that I accomplished, the things I've achieved. I put it in there every month. The good thing about that, it builds gratitude, but also reminds you, oh, I did this. I should celebrate this. It just kind of like switches your mind, and over time that habit has been pretty cool this last year, because it reminds me like, you did this. And sometimes I forget, so I'll even go back in the previous months and be like, that's pretty cool that I did that. Habits that fuel your joy. I just said it. Celebrate your small wins. We always wait for the big win. Start smelling the small ones and the medium ones. Like, really, honestly, like sometimes I'll be in here, like something will happen and I'm jumping for joy because I did that. You know what I mean? Don't wait for the big milestone. Every step forward deserves recognition. It deserves recognition. Practice presence. I think a lot of us have a tough time with this one. Um, Being in the present moment is tough for us, but being in the present moment is your importance. Like, it's an important moment. We think about the past and we think about the future. They say the anxiety lives in our future and the depression lives in our past, and we skip over the present moment. And I agree with that. I often forget that sometimes you just need to be. You just need to be. The next second is all that matters, because someone else didn't get that next second, but we did. So we have to just throw the gratitude towards. So sometimes, even if you're at work, if you're whatever you're doing, just take a breath, pause, be in nature, be in the moment, sip your coffee. If you enjoy silence in the morning like I do, get up a little bit earlier than your family does, even if it's just like 20 minutes. Moms, I'm talking to y'all specifically, have a shower without no interruptions, because I know them kids be coming to the bathroom when y'all are just trying to like have peace. And then if you even have a moment, make yourself a tea, a breakfast, or something. Take care of yourself and fuel you before you fuel anybody else. You can't pour from an empty cup. So if that means that you just getting up a little bit earlier just so you can fill up your cup, please, please do so. All right, so I'm gonna probably screenshot this so that you guys can have it, and I'll plop it in the chat, or you know what? I'm gonna send an email with everything, so you also have this. So get a routine and stick to it. This is how you can level up your habits as well. Look at your current schedule, because you already got one. Write down your daily responsibilities and activities for that week ahead. So every week, I have my good old Dollarama day planner. Cost me $4.50. Yeah, $4.50. I even bought one for next year already. And a week ahead, I'm writing out everything I gotta get done. Everything I gotta get done. But I space it out so I don't feel exceptionally overwhelmed. What are your goals for that week? So on the Monday, I put goals for this week. And then each day I go back to that page where it says goals for this week, and I just take one at a time. Okay, I can do this on Wednesday. I could do this on Thursday. I could do this on Saturday. And if I don't do it all that week, I move it over to the next week. 4, what is essential? This includes your rest. Hello. Rest is essential. It's a non-negotiable. We can't run on empty all the time. Create a daily schedule using physical or a digital calendar. I'm a digital person and I'm a physical person. I use both. So whatever works for you, if you need to do both, by all means. I do both so that I get the reminder on my watch or reminder on my phone. Hey, this is coming up. But I also do the physical just in case, because I also like writing things out. I can look, oh, we have this. Because I also set, like I said, I set goals for the week. Start blocking out your time. And also block out the time you need to do nothing. If you don't want to do a damn thing on a Tuesday and you know that you have a moment not to do anything on it, block the time out at 2 p.m. if you know you can do it. like it's okay to do that too. It's not just for the stuff you have to do. Well, it is for the stuff you have to do. So what I mean by have to do, I mean like that rest moment, the stuff where you just sit down and do nothing. We can use our calendar for that. We can use our time for that. Be patient and start off small. Like, again, a lot of us, when we think about leveling up and self help and healing, we want to overhaul our life with a bunch of stuff. No. In fact, don't even buy anything. Look at the free things you could do first. That was one of the mistakes I made where I thought I had to take classes that I just start off with just the basic things of the things that I use in my home that I can start with and to build and heal and start my healing process. Have a schedule for the weekends as well, but be flexible. You don't need to bombard your weekend. You're allowed to have a weekend where it's just you or it's just your family. I have weekends where I tell people I'm busy and I'm not. And that sounds horrible, but I have weekends where I tell people are like, "Oh, are you free this weekend?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not." And the joke is, I'm chilling. It's just because I need to do that. Um, and lastly, check in with your routine to identify what's working, what's not working, and make adjustments along the way. Just because that routine worked for you 6 months ago, it doesn't mean that's going to work for you now, 6 months later, because something could have happened that needs your attention. You're allowed to adjust, you're allowed to restart. Um, there's nothing wrong with that. And that happens quite often, right? And again, it's not about the big leaps, it's about the small, repeated choices. In terms of habits, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. It can get boring, but it's all in how you choose to make it work for you. Something for me is I dance in my kitchen every weekend. I'm not even embarrassed to say it. I have an old mic. I used to be a DJ. So I kept the Sony mic, cut off the wire, and yeah, I'm in that mic like singing my biggest tracks. Headphones on, dancing in my living room. It's it's something that helps me fuel, but allows me to show up for all my clients. It allows me to show up to be a great facilitator, workshop facilitator. It allows me to show up to be a great keynote speaker because I'm fueling me and I'm taking care of me. These are the choices that I'm making and these are the habits that I have that allow me to show up in the best version of myself. And yeah, identity shapes habits and habits shape identity. I love that. Identity shapes habits and habits shapes identity. All right, so we're going to wrap up a bit and we're going to talk about AM and PM routines. Morning, what's the first thing you do and how does it make you feel? What is the first thing you do? 9 times out of 10, a lot of y'all grab your phones. Try not to. Okay. If you're turning off the alarm, cool. I mean, I'm working on that. As a business owner, the first thing I check are emails. I'm trying my best with that. Like very quickly, I drop that phone and I pray. I'm like, ooh, we did not pray yet. So we gotta switch that. And what's one routine you want to keep or return to? That's a good one to think of. What's one routine you want to keep or return back to? Now, let's get into the PM. What is your current wind down routine or do you lack one? Showering is my first one. I have something called intentional showers. So every evening or every night, I have an intentional shower, which is I'm visualizing any bad energy or anything that's happening throughout that day that's felt negative or heavy. It's going down the drain. It's like a routine I have where nope, we're not carrying this into the next day. We're not carrying this into our sleep. We're going to have an intentional shower to get rid of this energy that has been holding us and carrying us back and holding us back. Nope, it's gone. And that's something I've been working on. I've been doing this for even before I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And I still do that to this day. To be honest with you, what got me into that was my job. I work in the public facing business. I'm interacting with a lot of people, different energies. I don't know what they're carrying. So I said, we got to get rid of some of this energy. So let's get into the habit stacking framework. So after I blank the current habit, I will new habit. So I'll give you an example. After I make coffee, I will write one sentence in my journal. I'll give you an example of mine. After I make coffee, I I actually do write in my journal, but the other one would be the stack of the books I have, which is my daily devotion. Yeah. So I want you to think after, and you could put it in the chat. After I, the current habit, after I will, the new habit. And you could put that into the chat. I'll see if I could. After I blank, I'll pop it in the chat. I will. Boo, boo, boo. There you go. Just to get your mind going a bit there. Oops. Wrong one. No, we're right. So habit stacking framework. Habit stacking equals the current habit plus the new habit. Again, after I brush my teeth, I'll do 2 minutes of deep breathing. After I work out and have a shower, I meditate. That's something I do automatically. Like almost sometimes minutes after I shower. It's a good way to have. One thing I love about habit stacking, it's a great way for you to stay consistent because then it becomes part of your routine. You don't even skip it. You just know, okay, I've worked out. Let's go pray. Let's go meditate. That's the two that I do right after I work out. Sometimes I even pray during my workout. It all depends. But the meditation is always afterwards. This version of me who lives well does blank every day. I want you to think about that. I'll put that in there too. And you could do this afterwards as well. You don't got to do it all now. It's good to just get. I'm not trying to give you guys homework, but it's a good way to get the ball rolling and think about the habits you have and how you can shift and refocus a little bit. I'm done with blank and I'm choosing. I will say I'm done with scrolling and I'm choosing sleep. Even more. I'm choosing more of that when it comes towards my PM routine. I'll add that one in the chat. Blank. And I'm choosing. And again, you don't got to do it now in the chat. You could also do this after the fact. So I want you to try your 7-day habit share. Your habit stack. Share your habit stacking with someone so that they can also hold you accountable. It helps just for 7 days. Notice I'm only saying 7 days because I believe that if we do it in a smaller step, and I've known this from not just myself but working with clients, when we break it down smaller into smaller steps, we're much more powerful in shifting our mindset, healing, self improvement, personal growth. The moment we overhaul our entire life is when things become far more harder and difficult for us to deal with. So follow up on your like a journal prompt here with what's one way I'm prioritizing myself this week. It's just one way, one habit that you're going to use to prioritize yourself this week. And yeah, that if you have any Q&As, I would love to know what's one thing standing between you and your habit that you want. And if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. You can ask in the chat. And I appreciate you for stopping by and joining this workshop. But if you have any questions, the floor is yours. I'll give you a few minutes and I'm happy to answer that. Also, there will be a link to the workshop that you can follow up on. If you missed anything at the beginning, I'll make it available for you and for others who are unable to make it. All right, then. So that is the end of our workshops, the habits that help you heal. I hope you were able to get some really good gems out of today's workshop. Again, this is part of the free series, so there'll be another one for next month. And for the remaining of the year, we're going to be going through goals towards the next two to 3 months. That's going to be heavy for 2026, believe it or not. We're in September now, so we have October, November, December. We're getting there. So we're going to really be ramping things up so that you can prepare for the new year. And if you have any questions, by all means, you can email me at info@dopelifecoach.com. I'm happy to help. And you could also check this out once I finish editing it. And it will be available on YouTube at Dope Life Podcast. All right. I appreciate you for taking the time out for tuning in and also participating in this as well. And I hope to see you soon at our next one. And as always, y'all, walk with peace and walk with love.